Hey everyone. March has been really like every other month in crypto is wild. And March has been one of the wildest I've ever seen after the collapse of FTX. If that one tops my list, I think March this year is the second wildest month in crypto ever. First, we had the collapse of few banks, but I think SVB was the biggest one, and it was mostly related to crypto. So this happened this month. It feels like it happened like a year ago already, but this was huge. And one side, this obviously is terrible for the economy, and it doesn't give us great signs. The Feds reacted really quickly. They pretty much bailed out the bank, and everything's fine. But in Bitcoin land and in crypto land, this is actually quite a good news because crypto has been built for this purpose. Whenever there's a banking crisis and whenever people don't believe in the banking system, they can turn back to crypto. And that's why we have seen a rally in Bitcoin after this news. And not even the recent foot wave that we've had. First, it was Elizabeth Warren that is building an anti-crypto army, which, in my personal opinion, is absolutely ridiculous. But then after this, there's obviously the situation with Binance, and they're getting a lawsuit. And there's a bunch of other stuff that's going on, obviously, with Kraken already, and the SEC really trying to push the narrative of crypto is bad forward, which I think long term is very bad news, generally speaking, for the US, because there are plenty of other places where crypto is welcome. And I think the whole system, like in the entire crypto industry, yes, it could still collapse, but it's already at the verge of being so big that it will find its way out of a crisis, which we're seeing pretty much every other week nowadays. And whatever the legislators in the United States decide to do, and also in the European Union, they're not far off the thinking of the US. And obviously, the US can really affect what happens in Europe. I don't really think that we're going to see crypto dying, but I do think that the United States will definitely suffer long term, because this means a lot of money will move out if they get some kind of legislation that is not at least sensible. We don't want it to be good or bad for crypto. We just want it to make sense. And obviously, I'm not an expert in this, but with people that I'm talking, definitely whatever they're saying and they're proposing, and currently the situation, obviously, that it's in the Senate, it's not very clear what exactly is crypto, and if you're doing business on the right side or on the wrong side of the law, it's not very clear. And this really makes people to move out from the United States if they want to start a crypto business. And this has never been good long term when a country does this. And if crypto will survive, if you have doubts, just think about this. China, which is pretty much the most populated country in the world, and one of the biggest economies in the world, really banned crypto. Like, I don't even remember when this was, maybe like a year ago or whatever. They banned crypto, and still here we are. A year later or so, we're still here. We're still developing. People are still building projects. Bitcoin is still going up. So this is really hard for me to understand why would they do this. And even within the states, I hear that there are specific states that they are pro crypto, and they'll be fighting against all of this BS pretty much that is going on. So it's very interesting to see how this will develop. I just get my popcorn. Obviously, I check the news, but pretty much most of what's happening is shown in the charts. And let's look at the charts, because we had a very significant monthly close. Also, the first quarter of this year has finished. And I want to start with actually the annual chart, the yearly chart of Bitcoin. And you'll see that from the beginning of 2023, we are up 70%, which is, when we were closing on last year, to be honest, I didn't expect this to happen. Obviously, we can give all the returns here back if we get a recession, and if we get some kind of wild legislation through Senate. But this just looks good. If we're really objective, even on the annual chart, which I don't usually do analysis, but you can see that we're in this range, we're holding support, we're bouncing off support. Obviously, I'm not going to trade off of this time frame, but it's very interesting to see that everything that's happening on the market, together with all the FUD and everything we just discussed with the news, you can see it on the charts. And you obviously can see much better on the monthly charts. And currently we are having 3 green monthly candles. Obviously this one really is a, like, I would count it as green, but it was pretty much flat. And we're having a major breakout. We've discussed this already several times, around 25K. We held up above 20K, sorry about this. And right now we have 3 months in a row, which are green. And we have really went out of this accumulation range here from the past 6 to 9 months, or whatever the number of these candles is. So things are looking good in the higher time frames. And if we go on the monthly close, by the way, we are 23% up this month. At some point, we were down to around 20K, 19K.5, something like this. So from top to bottom, we're here around 43% on the month. So this is not little move. Together with, again, the banks failing and all the backdrop that is happening, I think this is not to be underestimated. And if you jump down to the weekly chart, you see that we had a significant close a few weeks ago above the 200 weekly moving average. We broke out of this level around 25K, and price is pretty much consolidating right now for the last 2 weeks. We are just about to close this weekly candle. I don't really think it matters if it closed a little bit green or a little bit red. We're pretty much consolidating in this area. And as you can see, things are starting to look okay. And what will make me change my mind, I have already mentioned this, but if we jump to the daily chart, you see this cluster here that we're forming some kind of consolidation around between 29K and 27K, I would say. 26.5 is the more exact number, but you can see this level here that is forming as a range. And this is very typical. You know, once we had such an explosive move from this support level where we bought some Bitcoin up to here, you know, you can see this on a few days, we just had massive jump. And then it's totally normal for price to try to consolidate a little bit more here. And currently we're facing this level of resistance also, which is around, I would say 30K here. You know, maybe even, you know, if we take this whole area here, 32K is the top. But I think if we break out above 30K, which is like an emotional level, we could easily see like 35K is probably the next bigger level. 30, 35, 37K is the next major area to look for. And by the looks of it, I don't have any reasons to believe for now that this won't happen. As we mentioned, there's a lot of FUD surrounding Binance. I forgot to mention that also there's news that the US government is dumping Bitcoin that they have confiscated a while back. And you can see that price has been just absorbing this. You know, I think this was the Binance FUD day where we tagged 26.5 and we just bounced off of it. And we're currently just forming higher highs, higher lows on this lower time frame. And if we jump to the 4-hour chart, you will see it much clearer. You know, this capitulation, little capitulation candle, it's not really massive capitulation, but we're still holding this technical level. And as I mentioned, this will be my line in the sand. You know, I haven't taken any profit, not from all my buys in 20K area, 15, 16K. I was buying this dip, you know, I was averaging down between 18 and 15K. I had some buys, if I remember correctly, somewhere around here, again, around the 20K range. I haven't really sold anything, and I'm waiting to see what will happen here. So obviously, I will be very happy to sell around 35K if we get a breakout, which is my more bullish scenario. But also, if we break below this level of 25, 26, 27K, I'm more than willing to take some profits and just let price action do its thing, because we could chop around here. And I think this is probably my base case scenario for now. If we don't break out and if we close below 26K, I think we can definitely chop around in this area around between 25 and 30K. It could be like a second reaccumulation after this move. Again, depending on all the bad news that crypto will get in the next couple of months. And even until the end of the year. For now, things have been just looking very, very good. And it will be more than welcome also to have this kind of accumulation in this range. But for me, I'm more than happy to take some profit here, let it play out, do its thing for whatever amount of time it wants. And then if it wants to break out above this level, we can always re-enter on a breakout around 30K. It will be a higher conviction play even after such a long accumulation, because I'm hesitant to buy these, for example, 25K breakouts. Because as you can see, before this breakout, we had like several green days in a row, big green days. So, I'm always very cautious when I see so many green candles. But if we get accumulation here, that will be a very powerful breakout. And again, if we get a breakdown below this level, I'm more than willing to take more profit here. And again, just let price action be the guide and see how things will develop. Is everything clear, guys? So pretty much if we break, I think 20K is the main area still. So if we break below 20K, I think this means that we'll be for a lot of bad news and a lot of pain. And probably the thesis for another bull run could be broken, I would say, but also it could be postponed. No, I don't really believe crypto will die. Still, it's an opportunity to this to happen, but I don't really give it that much weight. But if we break 20K, probably something really bad with the economy is happening and with crypto. And yeah, we're for a much longer winter than expected. So these are my 3 cases pretty much for Bitcoin. And one more thing that I wanted to point out here before I get into a little bit in this call, I want to discuss a little bit more, my strategy going forward with the portfolio. Because this is a constant struggle, especially if you decide to play a little bit like my style and have some part of your portfolio in accumulation place. And you can always struggle with how many positions you want to hold. But before that, we should look into one very interesting chart, which is Bitcoin dominance. Pretty much this shows the percentage moves Bitcoin against the entire market, against the other market. Right now, we are at the top of this range here, which is around 47-50%, I would say. And we have been accumulating. So if we get another leg up, and if this is a Bitcoin-driven rally, I can definitely see us breaking out. But if we do this, and maybe at some point, Bitcoin will correct or will stabilize higher, I definitely think that alts will play catch up. And if we just go to the weekly chart, you can see this a little bit clearer. We have been really since, September last year, we've been in a Bitcoin markets, and it has gained a lot of momentum against altcoins. And altcoins are still bleeding. Even today, you can see, for example, Bitcoin is down like 1%, and something like Arbitrum is down like 8%. 3%, 4% in some of my portfolio holdings. But you can see this, that out has been obliterated. And I've been holding some outs. Some of them have had gains. Most of them are flat. Some of them are minus. But, if I have just hold Bitcoin for this entire period, I would have made a lot more compared to my out holdings. That's why we have diversification. And that's why I'm like 40% in Bitcoin currently in my portfolio. But at some point, I think this will shift. And I'm really closely monitoring price action on Bitcoin to see if we're really going to get this type of move in altcoins. And I'll be very, very excited for this to happen. I'm going to show you some charts that I'm looking into, but also for my accumulation plays. And even for Ethereum, I'm more than willing to switch some of my Bitcoin to Ethereum because of this chart. First, we are at major resistance since May of 2021. And over time, generally speaking, the Bitcoin dominance has fallen. So I wouldn't be surprised if this trend continues and if we retest here these lows of this range. But that will only happen, obviously, if Bitcoin gives the signal for this. But I'm more than willing to anticipate this. And I really think this will happen, especially if we have price stabilizing in these levels or if we have another leg up. on Bitcoin, that will be a very highly likely scenario for alts and for Ethereum to play catch up. And let me show you also the ETH BTC chart. You can see here that we're hanging around these levels of this ascending line, but pretty much there's also we broken down, which was, yeah, this was the level that I was looking around 66, 67, which is 0.066, but you get the point. And I'm not gonna be quick here. I want to see some strength first and out. We haven't really seen that for the past months, I would say. So I want to see a shift in this, or the specific moves that we discussed on Bitcoin happen, and then I'll be more than willing to shift Ethereum. Because with Ethereum, I made a mistake, which I'm still regretting. That first of all, I had some buys here in the $800,000 area back in June. I sold them right away because I thought we're gonna go lower, but then I didn't buy this retest when I was buying Bitcoin around 1400, which was also a nice gainer for ETH. And I do want to hold more ETH. They obviously have one significant thing happening, and I think the last day that they set was 12th of April, where the Shanghai update will go through and it will be live. This pretty much allows for people to unstake their Ethereum. And there are rumors, obviously, that this will be a lot of selling pressure for Ethereum. I do have a really short video on my channel, so if you want to go and watch this. But long term, I think this is very positive. And if we look into the chart of Ethereum, you see that pretty much it's been in a waiting mode. We have broken out. We're hanging around this level. I would say the major level to look for is 2K. So this was the high from the merge. And I really think that we could, just consolidate here for a while until April 12th. But after that, what I'm expecting, and I'm hoping for, is for price to dump when people are like, sell the news, because all the Ethereum will be unlocked. People will want to sell it, and so on, so on, so on. But long term, I do think this is a very good update for Ethereum, and definitely I think it will be a bullish long-term development if everything, of course, goes according to plan. So I'm watching closely, and I'm watching how the Shanghai update will go through in order to add to my Ethereum back, or to switch Bitcoin to Ethereum and get more exposure here. Because long-term, I do think Ethereum will have bigger gains than Bitcoin, unless something weird happens, like the US bans completely every other altcoin that it's not proof of work. And also, for example, I don't really know what's another reason for Ethereum not outperforming. Probably even if banks fail, like complete bank failure, people will go to Bitcoin, preferably, and not so much to Bitcoin. So these are a couple of scenarios where I see that Ethereum does not outperform Bitcoin. But honestly, I'm quite bullish on Ethereum. You know this. I've been talking about this for a while. But obviously, do your own research and don't follow me blindly, because I've done mistakes, as I mentioned, one of my regrets here. Okay, so this is Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let me know if you have questions related to them. We're going to jump into alts. Let me just check if there are any questions. Is there a bull flag on the daily for BTC USD? Let's check which time frame you're looking at. Yeah, this could be considered. Let's go to the 4-hour chart, maybe a little bit better. It's not the cleanest, I would say, bull flag, but yeah, maybe if we take this, come on. If we take this, yeah, we're definitely squeezing into resistance, and the more reactions we have here, the higher the likelihood of this resistance breaking. So it will be very interesting to see what happens. But usually when there are such a clear levels horizontally, I tend to a little bit disregard the diagonal lines. These just work better, and I found this to be true most of the time. And most people look to the horizontal price action compared to this. So let's look into some alts. The first one I want to look into is Arbitrum. I still hold my stuff that I got from the airdrop. It's not that much, but as you can see, this was the key level I was looking for, $1.3. It hasn't really been performing as I was expecting. So on the daily, I was expecting something like a pump in the first few days and then a dump. And my plan was to sell into the pump and then just buy lower. Right now, I'm still holding. Maybe I should have sold a little bit here, but really the size of my position is just negligible for my portfolio. So I'm more than willing to wait and see what will happen with Bitcoin, because I truly think we have a higher probability of going higher. And that's why I've been patient with this one. But if we break 1.1 with some conviction, probably I'll look to sell and see what happens. Maybe we go higher, maybe we go lower. But what I'm really looking for is just some kind of consolidation pattern, and this seems to be the beginnings of one. We definitely don't have enough price history, but let's see these levels around 1.1, $1.5 could be the start of an accumulation. And I'm very bullish on Arbitrum and the ecosystem in general. It's been one of my main focuses for the past months. So, if this happens and we don't get a dump or a pump, I'll be more than happy to buy a breakout around 1.5. Actually, I'm considering switching my optimism into Arbitrum because, and this is where I'm going to get into the discussion of the positions that I'm holding, but they're pretty much layer twos. They're pretty much optimistic rollups. So a lot of things are similar with them. Optimism, I think, is the less popular choice as an L2. They have a lot less value locked. They have a lot less transactions. Pretty much in all the categories that I'm monitoring, Optimism is underperforming Arbitrum. So for me, it doesn't really make sense to hold Optimism. And I do think long-term, this will underperform Arbitrum unless we get something weird, on Arbitrum and we get a pump and, we just dump from there and, there's something wrong with the network or, kind of a black swan, which we can obviously not predict right now. But this has been a very good trade for now. You can see price has been consolidating. We're still holding higher lows here. We've had a first lower high here. So we're forming this kind of a wedge and I'm still in profit, although I added on this fake out breakout here. I haven't cut any of the position pretty much since since the last sales I had here in these areas. And I'm just waiting because, again, this is at support. Bitcoin is at resistance, and I'm just really watching what's going to happen. If we dump on these lower levels here, I'll probably look to close my position at a profit here below $2. And then just wait and see. Because remember, guys, like this is probably one of the most important things that I will ever say or hear me say. If you see a altcoin breaking down and you're still holding because, oh no, it's gonna, long term it's gonna perform great, and I really believe in this, and you just become a back holder, there will always be another setup, even on this exact project that you like. Maybe, we retest the exact lows. And if there's a good setup, maybe you buy the lows here. Or maybe it doesn't retest the low, but also you don't have to stay in it for months and years. And while it does pretty much nothing. And then at some point, if it breaks out, shows strength, you can always re-enter. And, this is probably the hardest rule that I've had to learn in my career as a trader and a wannabe trader, I would say. But definitely, this is one of the things that will make or break you mentally and also your bank account. Just holding through this long-term, yeah, you could be a winner, but why would you need this? Maybe you find better setups. And if you don't have this mental drag for holding through this chop, you can take advantage of these fresh setups. So just keep this in mind. Don't get married to any coins. Let's go through some of the other positions also that I'm looking into. Matic is one. Again, hanging at support around $1. This will also have the ZK narrative play out. They're rolling out a ZK EVM, if I remember correctly, and it should be somewhere this month. ZK Sync already launched their mainnet, so they were trying to front run Matic. Matic is next, and Matic is probably going to be one of the biggest winners long term as a layer 2 / side chain on Ethereum. And yeah, I want to hold some. Probably this will remain a core position for me. I'm not sure if I'm going to increase the size. I wanted to make this bigger. I'll see. I'm still debating with myself. This is work in progress, as I mentioned. And then I do still hold Magic. I haven't added here. I'm pretty much flat right now on the position with these couple of ads here. I can easily add on a breakout, and I'll probably cut it if I see weakness, because again, we have lower high here, higher low here. So we're squeezing, we're waiting to see what's going to happen. But if Bitcoin gives the green signal, this could really fly. I'm pretty sure. I like this project, great fundamentally. It's on Arbitrum, so there are a lot of things going for it. STG is another one that I hold. I added a little bit recently. We reclaimed this level around 65 cents. You can see a lot of confluence here in this area with the 100-day moving average. This diagonal support here. And yeah, it's again not showing a lot of strength, but not enough weakness for me to cut it and decide what I'm going to do later. And also, I'm using STG token for farming the layer 0 airdrop, potential layer 0 airdrop. This hasn't been confirmed, but I'm staking it. I'm voting on their proposals. I'm using the bridge. And if you haven't used it, I definitely recommend you use this bridge for your trading across different chains and layer 2. So generally speaking, very good project. I just really like it. But again, I'm not going to get married to it if it shows weakness. GMX is another that I have a hate-love relationship with it. I added some, it was around here. So I sold here the bottom, obviously, like a complete noob. And I started getting back in this area. It also shows relative good pattern of accumulation here in the higher range. And it's been dealing very well with the FUD. So definitely I'll be adding on a breakout here, or just if it chops around here for a while. I want to regain my position here, but not without a green light on the market overall. One that I'm also debating is Galaxy, because I have some ads here. Again, it's chopping around in this range. But if we look into the weekly, you can see here the weekly is much clearer. It's just haven't been showing a lot of strength. We have lower highs. Maybe I was a little bit early to jump the gun on Galaxy and start accumulating it. I might have waited a little. I should have waited a little bit more for proper accumulation. But again, every project that I'm looking into have some partnership with Galaxy. So this is what's making me want to hold Galaxy. But again, if we break this level around 1.6, I'll probably look to sell and just wait and see what's going to happen. And then there's a bunch of other tokens that I want to buy. But as you can see, we have already went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with Arbitrum. And there's like at least 4 or 5 projects like Sui, Layer 0, ZK Sync. What else? There was another one. Starknet is a very big one that I'm very interested in. So all of these projects I want to have a piece of, and they really have good fundamentals. And then there's like smaller tokens like RDNT, Radiant Capital, which have very good project, and a lot of other projects on the ecosystem of Arbitrum, Blur, and I haven't even mentioned Blur and the liquid staking place like Rocket Pool. I want to have a piece of all of these, but I need to be focused, and I cannot allow myself to have like 20 positions, because from experience I know that this is very hard to manage so many positions. And that's why I'm constantly looking to optimize my portfolio. For example, I sold GNS and GMX, but I'm going to be buying only GMX because they're very similar projects, and I think GMX will be the daddy, although GNS long term could have bigger gains because of the smaller market cap. But I'm just going to focus on this one. Same with Optimism and Arbitrum. So it's really hard for me to make these decisions, but I know I have to, because long term, if we get a bull cycle, all of these projects will have 10x, for example, gains. And if whatever a project I choose have 8x instead of 10x for the other one that I left, let's say Optimism runs 10x in the next cycle and I choose Arbitrum and it has 8x, I'm still good. I'm not going to be mad for not having these extra x's. But again, I'll be much willing to concentrate my capital and sleep easier at night when I have lower number of positions, with bigger conviction. So this is really, it's not easy, to be honest. It's a constant struggle for me to choose if I want to enter a position or accumulate a position. And the cap that I kind of set for myself is like 10 positions for accumulations, no more. And then 5 to 10 maximum, which is not going to be all at once, but swing trades. Like, for example, if I see Lido, if I see Lido breaking out here, I want to have a position here, but I'm not willing to accumulate this token. So I want to have a trade for this. It could be a cycle trade. I could hold it for weeks and months, but I don't want to be buying it here in anticipation of a setup. I just want to buy the setup. Same with Rocket Pool. And again, I need to make the decision which one of the two. And if we're blessed to have, for example, first Lido run and then Rocket Pool run, and not both projects in the same narrative run together, I can sell one to the other and just keep one position. This is just a whole nother level of management that, in a potential bull run scenario, we'll need to take care of. But yeah, definitely a lot of things to consider, and a lot of tokens to look at. I don't really have exposure to AI tokens, but again, I'm considering it because it's been such a strong narrative. AGX has been the overall outperformer. It's been consolidating here. Should I add to this? Should I let it run? Even if it has like 10x from here, is it a good setup or is it not? It's always a struggle. Trust me. What else I wanted to show you? And just go through the list. Oh, Blur, obviously. Blur is showing some signs of accumulation. I didn't buy the lows here. I want to accumulate this one. I like it. They have very good platform. They're gonna probably do another airdrop or so. And I believe in the NFT narrative. But I just want to have price history here. I'm not willing to buy the bottom of this range on just the second or third retest without really being such a clear range. So yeah, this is what I'm interested in. We have other NFT tokens that we have discussed, like Lux, X2Y2. These charts have really been looking like crap. So for now, not that interesting. PYR also showing some accumulation here, but it does have a price history, and I don't like tokens with price history here. So we'll see. Ape has been doing all right. It's been just chugging along, accumulating here. So also valid setup for this. And yeah, I'm just gonna go back after my holiday to research. There's so many things I want to look into. Like, for example, in the Arbitrum ecosystem, we have projects like DopeX, which is a smaller cap. I think this was on options. Another projects related is Lyra. So this is again options trading in crypto. And yeah, it's a lot of things, guys. There really are so many things to look into. Okay, let's jump into Q&A. I do see some questions, so let me just look into them, and we can wrap up after that. So what's your take on XRP? Yeah, good that you reminded me. XRP has been running lately. XRP, and maybe we can also look into Litecoin. Could they have the narrative of the halving? So XRP is really hard to trade for me because they have this black swan hanging above their head. Everyone's speculating around the SEC case and what's going to happen there. It really had a good breakout with a retest. So technically speaking, this was very good setup. And actually, it's getting rejected from. Let me just jump to the weekly chart. So yeah, we have this breakout that happened around this level, around 40 cents, I would say. And now we are at, we tested resistance and we got rejected around 60 cents. Long-term chart, as you can see, this really is an accumulation pattern for me. And we had already 4 green weeks in a row. And with the unknown of the case, what's going to happen, I'm not really interested in trading it, to be honest. It's been doing well, even against Bitcoin. It's been outperforming in the past few weeks. But again, it's really hard for me. And yeah, I think there's extra risk there that I'm not willing to take at this moment. So probably I'm going to skip. but I'm tracking this XRP chart because long term it's starting to look good. So maybe potentially there's a trade there. We'll see. What else? Any idea why Coinbase stopped trading on Rally? No, I don't know what's Rally. Maybe it was not spelled right, but I don't know what you mean. So not sure. What are layer 0 and layer 1s and layer 2s? Okay, so layer 0 is a project. Let me just Google it for you. You can go up and read upon it, but layer 0 is pretty much a project that it's building like an omni-chain for all blockchains out there. And what they do is they can, I'll try to explain very simple, but they try to have cross-chain movements very easy. So all transactions and all messaging can go on their layer 0. So this is below all the major blockchains like Solana and so on. And they can send and transact different messages or tokens or loans to different blockchains. For example, Radiant Capital is utilizing layer 0 to make cross-chain loans. So you put a deposit on Ethereum and you can borrow funds on BNB, for example. Also, Stargate Finance, as I mentioned, Stargate, this project is a bridge. So pretty much you can transfer from whatever network you want. Let me just check. So let's say you want to go from Arbitrum to Optimism, and you can transfer stables here and other stuff. And this is very powerful and makes for a lot easier experience on the crypto in general. So this is layer 0, and layer 1s are all the blockchains. So Solana, Ethereum mainnet, Binance Smart Chain, AVAX, these are all layer 1s, and they have their own blockchains. Aptos is the recent one. Sui is an upcoming one. And layer 2s are projects, mainly we talk about them for Ethereum. And if you check, there's another website, L2Beat. So this website will give you a good summary of all the layer 2s on Ethereum. So Arbitrum, Optimism, ZK Sync, as I mentioned earlier in the video, and so on. So these are the layer things that we discuss. What do we need to do generally to take part in an airdrop of a new token? There are many things that you can do. I'm trying to also write guides, so I do have this in the community. I also have a video about the ZK Sync airdrop, but basically you need to follow several steps, and you could possibly qualify with your wallet for an airdrop. In this video, I pretty much explained how you can do it for layer 0 potential airdrop. But you can Google also. If you have any questions, just let me know. I will walk you through a specific project that you're interested in. Regarding PYR, what don't you like about price history? So so whenever there's a bunch of people that bought it in the previous cycle at the top, so they were buying it like at $40, and currently we're at $3. So these people probably hold. Some of them hold, and they are down like, what's that, 80, 90%. And whenever they see a spike, and somewhere when they see they're down just 50%, they're more than willing to sell, which is selling pressure for the token. And that's why, generally speaking, I don't like these tokens. I'm not